The story begins in the Velker Expanse, a region of space controlled by the Galactic Assembly, a coalition of 17 alien species who have maintained peace through superior firepower for 3,000 years. Commander Lysara, a Velani officer aboard the flagship Eternal Sentinel, monitors routine patrol operations. The Assembly has never encountered humanity before. Their sensors detect an anomalous energy signature approaching from uncharted space. Initial scans suggest a single vessel, but the readings make no sense. The power output is astronomical, the hull composition unknown, and the propulsion system operates on principles their scientists cannot identify. Lysara orders her fleet of 47 warships to intercept and establish contact. As they approach, the Assembly fleet commanders exchange confused communications. The vessel is smaller than their capital ships but radiates more power than their entire fleet combined. When the human warship finally comes into visual range, it resembles nothing in their databases. Sleek, angular, covered in what appears to be adaptive armor that shifts and flows like liquid metal. No visible weapon ports, no communication arrays they can identify. Just a dark, predatory presence hanging in the void. The ship is designated UES Relentless, representing the United Earth Systems. Lysara attempts to hail the vessel using every known communication protocol. Silence. Her science officer, Thren, analyzes the ship's emissions and discovers something impossible. The vessel is generating its own gravitational field, bending space around itself in ways that should require planetary-scale mass. The ship's hull temperature is absolute zero in some sections and plasma hot in others, suggesting thermal management systems beyond their comprehension. When the human ship finally responds, it's not through conventional channels. A voice emerges directly into the minds of every being aboard every assembly ship, a form of quantum-entangled communication that bypasses all known physics. Captain Daniel Price introduces himself calmly, explaining that humanity has been observing the assembly for 6 months. The aliens are terrified by this revelation. 6 months of observation without detection means their entire security infrastructure is obsolete. Price requests permission to attend a diplomatic summit. His tone is polite, but every alien officer feels the implicit threat. This is not a request they can refuse. As the Relentless powers down some of its systems as a gesture of goodwill, the resulting energy discharge causes spatial distortions that nearly tear apart 3 assembly frigates. The aliens realize the human ship wasn't even operating at full capacity. The scene shifts to the Assembly's core world, Kavshara Prime, where the Galactic Council convenes in emergency session. High Arbiter Doran, a Krethian who has led the Assembly for 2 centuries, reviews the intelligence reports with growing alarm. 17 species, each bringing unique technological contributions, have pooled their knowledge for millennia. Yet humanity, appearing from nowhere, demonstrates capabilities that make the Assembly look primitive. Military analysts present their findings. The human warship uses quantum processors that operate on probability rather than binary logic. Its weapon systems remain hidden, but energy signatures suggest directed antimatter streams, controlled singularities, and something the analysts can only describe as weaponized spacetime itself. The ship's defensive capabilities are equally terrifying. Shields that don't just deflect energy but absorb and redirect it, hull plating that repairs itself at the molecular level, and stealth systems that make the vessel effectively invisible to every sensor type the Assembly possesses. Political factions within the Council argue over how to respond. The military faction, led by General Corvin, advocates for a preemptive strike using their entire armada. The diplomatic faction urges caution, noting that humanity sent 1 ship as a peaceful gesture. Doran recognizes the truth that others refuse to acknowledge. If humanity wanted conflict, the Assembly would already be destroyed. He orders full diplomatic engagement while secretly authorizing Project Ascension, a crash program to reverse engineer human technology. Captain Daniel Price arrives at Kavshara Prime aboard a small shuttle that launches from the Relentless. The shuttle itself becomes another source of anxiety. It travels faster than assembly courier ships, carries weapons powerful enough to level cities, yet Price brings only a small diplomatic team. Lieutenant Bate Holland, his security chief, and Dr. Nathan Cross, a xenoanthropologist, accompany him. The assembly prepares an elaborate reception, but Price dismisses the ceremony and requests immediate private talks with the High Arbiter. During their first meeting, Price is direct to the point of brutality. He explains that humanity has been spacefaring for only 75 years, but developed rapidly due to what he calls motivated innovation. Earth nearly destroyed itself in catastrophic wars, and the survivors built their civilization on a foundation of hard lessons about survival, adaptation, and overwhelming deterrence. He reveals that the Relentless is not humanity's most advanced warship, it's merely the one they could spare for first contact. Doran asks the obvious question, why reveal themselves now? Price explains that humanity detected assembly exploration fleets approaching the outer boundaries of human space and decided to introduce themselves before accidental contact led to conflict. He provides star charts showing human-controlled territory, and Doran feels his confidence shatter. Humanity controls 47 star systems, has a population of 83 billion, and maintains a fleet of 600 warships, each comparable to or exceeding the Relentless in capability. General Corvin demands proof of human capabilities, believing Price is exaggerating to intimidate the assembly. Price agrees to a demonstration. The assembly's finest warship, the Vanguard of Unity, engages in war games against the Relentless in an uninhabited system. The assembly crew is confident. The Vanguard represents 3,000 years of accumulated military technology and carries a crew of 2,000 elite warriors. The Relentless has a crew of only 73. The war game begins. The Vanguard launches its first volley, plasma missiles that can melt through planetary crust. The Relentless doesn't dodge or raise shields. The missiles simply cease to exist before impact, their matter converted to harmless radiation. The assembly ship fires its main weapon, a particle beam that previously destroyed an asteroid in a single shot. The beam strikes the Relentless and disappears, absorbed into the human ship's hull. Energy readings show the Relentless's power levels increasing. It's using the attack as a charging mechanism. When the Relentless responds, it fires a single weapon. A beam of violet light touches the Vanguard's shields and they collapse instantly. The beam continues through the hull, passing completely through the ship without causing physical damage, but every system aboard the Vanguard shuts down. Corvin demands an explanation. Price reveals it was a quantum disruptor, a weapon that temporarily destabilizes the electron shells of atoms, causing technological systems to fail while leaving organic matter unharmed. The Vanguard's crew is safe, but their ship is now powerless. The Relentless restores the Vanguard systems remotely, proving they have complete control over assembly technology. Corvin realizes that humanity could have destroyed every assembly ship without firing a lethal shot. The psychological impact is devastating. Dr. Cross begins cultural exchanges with assembly scholars, and the aliens learn the disturbing truth about human development. Humanity didn't receive their technology from ancient precursors or develop gradually over millennia. They created it themselves in less than a century, driven by survival instinct and what Cross describes as competitive innovation culture. Earth's nations initially developed fusion power, quantum computing, and artificial intelligence while trying to destroy each other. The planet's survival was uncertain until the Beijing Accords unified humanity under a single government. Even then, Earth faced extinction from ecological collapse, resource depletion, and the lingering threat of weapon stockpiles. Humanity's solution was to leave Earth and expand into space at unprecedented speed. Assembly scientists review Earth's history and find it incomprehensible. Humans developed faster than light travel in 23 years. The assembly took 600. Humans created self-repairing nanomaterials in 8 years. The assembly still doesn't have that technology. Most disturbing is humanity's military philosophy. Assembly warfare follows strict protocols, rules of engagement refined over millennia. Human warfare is total, ruthless, and pragmatic. During Earth's last global conflict, nations deployed weapons that assembly military doctrine would consider crimes against existence itself: artificial plagues, nano-disassemblers, consciousness-fragmenting weapons. Humans banned these weapons after seeing their effects, but they still know how to build them. Scholar Verena asks Cross the question that terrifies everyone: what would humanity do if threatened with extinction? Cross's answer is simple and chilling: anything necessary. A routine assembly science mission in the Outer Reach detects something that sends panic through the Council. Hidden in the void between stars, powered down to near undetectable levels, sits a human fleet. Not the 600 ships Price mentioned, but 3,000 warships in perfect formation, waiting. The discovery is accidental. An assembly probe malfunctioned and collided with empty space that wasn't empty. The probe's debris field revealed the outline of a human vessel through gravitational lensing. Once they knew what to look for, assembly long-range sensors found more. Hundreds more. Thousands more. Price had lied, not about human capabilities, but about their numbers. When confronted, he doesn't apologize. He explains that humanity practices defensive deception. Never reveal your full strength, always maintain strategic reserves, prepare for the worst possible scenario. The assembly realizes that humanity has been evaluating them as a potential threat from the beginning. Every peaceful gesture, every diplomatic exchange, was conducted while human warships surrounded assembly space, ready to respond if negotiations failed. Doran accuses Price of bad faith, and Price responds with brutal honesty. Humanity learned through suffering that survival requires strength, deception, and the will to act decisively. They offer friendship, but only from a position where no one can threaten Earth without facing extinction in return. The assembly must choose whether to accept humanity as equals or reject them and face the consequences. The assembly fractures into competing factions. The diplomatic coalition argues for acceptance, recognizing that humanity's power makes them invaluable allies against external threats. The militarist faction, humiliated by their obsolescence, demands that the assembly unite its 17 species fleets and destroy humanity before they become unstoppable. A third faction, led by the Mercantile Dren Collective, sees opportunity. Human technology could revolutionize assembly civilization if obtained through trade. Assassination plots emerge. Extremists attempt to kill Captain Price, believing his death will create a leadership vacuum. They fail spectacularly when Lieutenant Holland's security protocols prove impossible to breach. The would-be assassins are captured alive, unharmed, by automated defense systems they never saw. Price uses the incident to make a point. Humanity doesn't want violence, but they're prepared for it at every level. The captured assassins are returned to the assembly unharmed, along with complete intelligence on how their security was penetrated. It's simultaneously a gesture of goodwill and a demonstration of how vulnerable the assembly truly is. General Corvan launches a coup attempt, seizing control of the assembly's main fleet and declaring himself supreme commander. He orders an attack on human space, believing that swift action will prevent humanity from deploying their full fleet. It's a catastrophic miscalculation. Corvan's fleet, over 600 warships representing the Assembly's finest military assets, emerges from faster-than-light travel at the edge of human space. They expect to find defensive positions, fortifications, signs of military preparation. Instead, they find Captain Price's shuttle, alone and undefended, waiting in open space. Price broadcasts on all frequencies. He's disappointed but not surprised. He gives Corvan one chance to withdraw. Corvan refuses and orders his fleet to open fire. What happens next becomes known across the galaxy as the silent deterrence. Before a single assembly weapon can discharge, every ship in Corvan's fleet loses all power simultaneously. Weapons, shields, life support, everything. The ships hang dead in space. Then the stars themselves seem to move. The human fleet decloaks, not 3,000 ships but 10,000 warships, each more advanced than the Relentless, surrounding the assembly fleet in a perfect three-dimensional formation. But they don't fire. Price broadcasts again. Humanity could destroy Corven's entire fleet in seconds. They could invade assembly space and conquer every world before resistance could be organized. But they won't. Because humanity learned that true strength isn't the ability to destroy your enemies, it's the wisdom to turn them into allies. The human fleet restores power to the assembly ships and escorts them peacefully back to assembly space. No shots fired, no casualties, just an undeniable demonstration that humanity's patience has limits, but their preference is peace. Corvin is arrested by his own officers, who recognize that his actions nearly caused the assembly's extinction. In the aftermath, the Galactic Assembly votes to offer humanity full membership with a permanent seat on the Council. Price accepts on behalf of Earth, but with conditions. Humanity will share some technology, but not their most advanced weapons systems. They'll participate in assembly defense, but Earth's military remains independent. They'll engage in trade and cultural exchange, but human space remains sovereign. Doran agrees, recognizing that humanity is dictating terms from a position of absolute strength while still offering genuine partnership. The first joint project is announced, a collaborative research station studying a spatial anomaly that both civilizations find interesting. Human scientists and assembly researchers will work together, beginning the slow process of building trust. Lieutenant Holland is assigned as permanent security liaison, and Dr. Cross begins the Assembly's first comprehensive study of human culture. The Assembly slowly comes to understand that humanity's strength comes not from technology alone, but from their unified purpose born from survival, their ability to innovate under pressure, and their willingness to do whatever necessary to protect their own. These traits made them terrifying opponents, but they also make them valuable allies. Months after first contact, the galaxy has transformed. Human warships now patrol alongside assembly fleets, and their presence has deterred 3 potential conflicts between assembly member species. Trade flourishes as human manufacturing techniques revolutionize production across assembly space. Cultural exchange programs introduce humans to alien art, philosophy, and history, while aliens discover human literature, music, and the strange concept of competitive sports. But underlying everything is the unspoken truth that everyone acknowledges. Humanity is the dominant military power in known space, and they achieve that status in less time than most species need to colonize their first moon. Captain Price stands on the bridge of the relentless, now designated flagship of the Joint Human Assembly Defense Force, and reflects on how far humanity has come. From a single planet torn by war to the guardians of galactic peace. Lieutenant Holland asks if he thinks the Assembly truly accepts them or merely fears them. Price admits it's probably both, but that's acceptable. Fear prevents foolish aggression. Respect enables cooperation. Together, they create stability. The story ends with a transmission from Earth's deep space monitoring network. They've detected signs of another civilization beyond assembly space, one that appears to be expanding aggressively toward both human and assembly territory. Price orders the fleet to full alert and sends a message to the Assembly Council. Humanity faced their first contact with wisdom born from hard experience. Now they'll face their second contact together with the Assembly as allies. The galaxy is larger than either civilization imagined and far more dangerous. But whatever comes next, they'll face it united, with humanity's strength and the Assembly's knowledge combined. The Relentless turns toward unknown space, its sensors sweeping the void, ready for whatever challenges await. Because that's what humanity does. They survive, they adapt, and they protect those who stand beside them. The moment aliens saw a human warship, fear spread across every fleet. But now that fear has transformed into something more valuable: respect, partnership, and the knowledge that humanity's strength serves a greater purpose than conquest. The galaxy will never be the same.